Wow. Oh, thank you. Hi, everyone.
Hey,
I have not been to a Connecticut chapter of the AMTA meeting for quite a long time, and it is such a pleasure to see so many people here that I recognize, that I've known for a very long time. And so I want to thank you for having me today. I want to answer questions for you and talk with you a little bit about the National Certification Program. Many of you know me from the Connecticut Center for Massage Therapy. I began working with Steve Kipps many, many years ago, 1987. And so I'm still with the Connecticut Center for Massage Therapy. I direct the enrollment for all three of the schools, as well as direct the campus that we have in Groton, Connecticut. So still with CCMT, and really love it, and really love hearing about graduates of the school. And of course, my other job is to chair the National Certification Board. And I'm here today to talk with you primarily about Ncbtmb. So a brief little history about Ncbtmb is, you know, it was actually born from the AMTA many, many years ago, around 1992. And I was just speaking with someone who I believe was sitting in the same room that I was when I took the exam back in 1992. It was created as a voluntary credential. And many people forget that it was created as a voluntary credential originally, before it became utilized by states as a licensure tool. Now, we're going to make this 13 years in 2 minutes. Would be to say that as states adopted the use of the National Certification Credential for licensure, national certification itself as a credential certification became synonymous with licensure. Didn't it? Yeah. What is getting, it really did. And so therefore the question of what is the value of being certified was born. What is the value of being certified if it's the same as licensure? Okay, so that was, as we developed the examination, there were about 10 years between the last time I was chair of this organization and now. Okay, in 2000 I was chair of this organization, and it was a completely different story, completely different organization at that point in time. With the introduction of the massage and bodywork licensure examination, things have changed a lot for national certification. Okay, and for the board. So what the board really stopped and said to themselves was, guess what? What is the value of national certification if it's the same thing as licensure? Okay, a standard of practice and a code of conduct. So what we've done is we've created a new credential because we really want certification to mean something. Okay, it is not that this new credential of board certification is just a new name for national certification, okay? National certification as something that is synonymous with licensure is sunsetting, okay? It's going away. And the board certification credential is one that will once again establish a new level of a credential for massage therapists. Okay, this is something where people they'll graduate from school, they'll become licensed, and then they'll have the opportunity to get another credential, something that says, I've done more. Okay, I am a board certified massage therapist. So in essence, it's not just changing the name, it is really trying to recreate what we originally created. A voluntary certification credential that says, I've done more than I have to. Okay? I am proud to say that I continue to advance in the profession of massage therapy, that I continue to achieve new goals. So, a lot of times the main question that I feel obligated to answer is, what is the value? What is the value? Why should I? National certification didn't have any value for me. What's board certification going to have? Okay? So, we have to stop and say for a second, what does value really mean? What is the value? okay? And national certification is not value as associated with cost, okay? We don't have a magazine, we don't have an insurance company, okay? We don't have conventions. We have wonderful organizations such as the AMTA that do that for us, okay? So that's not what Ncbtmb is. And there's some scenarios here that remind me of the job that I do every day where I talk about value. Because in directing enrollment, I'll have a lot of times people will come in and they'll sit and they'll look and they'll say, well, what is the value of this education? How much does it cost? That's the first question. How much does it cost? Right? Well, let me tell you a little bit about the program before you decide whether it's worth the cost. Okay? And what they're trying to do is say, I want to make sure that I'm getting my money's worth. And my money's worth means you're going to give me an education. There's enough education there that I'm going to fill my mind with for that cost. That's the value, right? But what about what you learn with your heart? What about what you're going to learn, the experiences that you're going to have? Do they have any value? I mean, it's more about anyone who's graduated from CCMT. It's more about what you learn with your heart than it is about what you learn with your mind, right? So we're trying to, we've all been in this profession for a long time to know that measuring something is difficult. Measuring the value is difficult. Measuring our worth, measuring our profession, it's all very difficult to measure. And people need measurements, okay? They really do. Okay, these students, they want a measurement. You want a measurement, okay? And what Ncbtmb does is create measurements and tools that the public will recognize, okay? So what we want to do is talk a little bit about what is the value. And the value really comes from you. It's something where I just have to say that you either personally value, achieving higher goals, or you don't. This is, again, a voluntary credential. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we are going for everything we can possibly do, okay? And we know that, for example, when you get a massage, okay, the client understands the value and appreciates the massage after they've received it, okay? They're going to value and understand your credentialing after you've achieved it, not before. If you haven't achieved it, they're not going to recognize it, they're not going to know it's there, they're not going to value it. So when people say, well, the public or the consumers don't value it, they don't know about it, well, it's kind of our job to let them know, okay, that there are higher credentials that we can achieve, and I've achieved them, okay? So we are really looking at, what is the value of creating advanced credentials for the profession of massage? What is the value of providing career paths for individuals who have just graduated? Of making there be additional credentials for individuals to be able to achieve? Okay? What that does is it says, if I become board certified, I'm making a commitment to the future of my profession. Because I want there to be credentials that the public can measure, that the public can recognize, that are there to achieve, and that are there for people to be able to say, I go to a board-certified massage therapist, or I hire a board-certified massage therapist, etc. So to me, that is really what the value of it is. It stands as a way for you to personally make a commitment and value your profession. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about what's required to become board certified, because I know there are a ton of questions out there, tons and tons and tons. So I'm going to try to cover some of the basics. So to become board certified, first of all, so you graduate, you get licensed. If you want to become board certified, okay, there are certain criteria that you need to meet that are higher than licensure criteria. Okay, that's the whole point.
I'm sorry. Say that again. I got to ask something because I'm going to wonder about it the whole time.
Okay.
Right now, to get a license. Is that changing? Is that going to force states to change?
Repeat the question.
Repeat the question because Scott's taping you and they
yes,
can't pick
yes.
that up.
Yes, the question was
Thank you.
that 3 years ago, thank you, what's your name? Darlene? Dolly said that she needed to become nationally certified in order to get a license, okay? So, board certified? Well, that's incorrect, right, because there was no board certification at that time. But national certification is an examination. There's an examination called the National Certification Exam, and it often gets confused with being nationally certified. But the state of Connecticut uses the National Certification Exam only. Okay, so that is one of the reasons why you needed to take the National Certification Exam in order to get your license.
And that's remaining?
I'm sorry?
That's remaining?
That is how it stands right now in the state of Connecticut, yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, there's 50 states, and they all do different things. You know, it's called the United States, but they're not united at all. They all do very different things, okay? They all have very different rules. And so you go from here, where you're fine, you go over here, 50 miles away, you're not fine anymore. Okay, so the state of Connecticut currently uses just the National Certification Exam. So in this particular group of people, there may be even, you know, a greater confusion about national certification requirements and licensure requirements. But when you graduate, you get a license, whether you take the NBLEX or you take the National Certification Examination, okay, you get a license. If you are currently, how many people out here are currently nationally certified? Yay. Okay, so you do not need to take the test, okay, in order to become board certified. Okay, what you need to do is think about when's my recertification date, okay? When it comes time for you to recertify, you need to meet the board certification credentials, and then you just simply will be board certified without taking the test. But you do need to meet what the eligibility criteria are. So what are they? They are 750 hours of education. Now, you don't have to graduate from a 750-hour school, okay? It can be any combination of your education. So it could have been a 500-hour program and 250 hours of continuing education, okay? So it is 750 hours total of education, okay? Yes.
Will it be as easy as saying I graduated from Bancroft with 600 hours and I've been in Nctmb since 1992? That would be, you know, would it be as easy as that, or do we have to write down all of the...
No, if you have been recertified, then you are already going to get credit for those continuing education hours that you did. Absolutely. You know, so it'd be like, you know, here's my 600 hours, I recertified, there's 48 hours, I recertified, there's 48 hours, right? I did these continuing education here and there, okay? And so that needs to add up to 750. Yes?
So if you have been nationally certified for 15 years, so they don't have record of every time I recertified of all the hours?
Yes.
No, you'll just...
My question is, when you fill out the paperwork, you have to list that yourself. They don't have record of that.
No, we have record of how long you've been certified. So, I'm sorry, the question was, I've been certified for 15 years. So therefore, you've been through 4 cycles of recertification. So 4 times 48. And you're going to get credit for that.
So if they don't have record of the actual hours.
That's okay.
But for each time you recertify, you have to list for that certification period what classes you took. Right. Because they don't get that, nobody sends them NC
Right.
provider. I don't send in to them who took my class.
Right.
It's our responsibility. But they keep track of it overall.
So, and what Lee is adding to this is to say, you know, if you can send in all of the classes that you did take to meet your recertification, that would be great. Okay, that would be something that we would like to see. Okay, but Ncbtmb does not necessarily have all of that information. And you can slap me across the face for that, but that's the truth. Yes?
Just as an aside to this, if you want to keep track of your continuing education units, you can actually log on to AMTA National
Right.
website.
Hey.
And you can do it right there. And you can put everything in, so when you go to renew, you just go pull that up and it's right there. You just got to do that.
Yeah. And what Lee is saying is that the AMTA website and membership has a way for you to keep track of things that you've done with the AMTA. And the National Certification Board's new website also now has a username and password option where you will be able to go in and do the same. Keep track of the continuing education that you have done. Okay?
Clarification, do you do the keep track on the Ncbtmb or the AMTA?
Either one you want to. You can keep track on both. Either one.
But in order to stay certified nationally, you have to do it on the NC, that one, on the national.
It's going to make it easier for you because basically all you'll need to do is electronically, move over your information from your account to your application. So if you do log everything that you've done towards your Ncbtmb into your account on the Ncbtmb, it'll be easier for you to keep track of. So that's why it's there. Yeah.
For somebody that graduated from the 500-hour program, in their first 4 years, they go above or beyond the 48 hours. That doesn't switch over to the next 4 years. They can count that. So like, let's say they do 55 hours. They can count all that towards the 750, correct?
That's correct. What he's saying is if I graduate from a 500-hour program and I've been recertified so I get 48, but I actually did more than 48. Do I get credit for that? Yeah. We'll give you the 48, but then you're going to need to show what you did in order to do that. Yes. Yes.
Are they going to go, are they staying with a 2-year or a 4-year? One time I thought they were dropping the 4-year and going to a 2-year. And what's this CPR stuff that we might need to take to be certified?
Okay, so you have to have 750 hours of education, right? You do have to have, I'll keep going with the eligibility criteria because that's really going to address your question. The next thing you have to have is 250 hours of experience in the field, okay, or no less than 6 months, okay? Reason being is that certification is a higher credential than licensure. So there is an expectation that someone who's certified has experience in the field. Okay, so 6 months or 250 hours, whichever comes first. Okay, of experience working in the field. You will need to have a CPR certification. Okay, that is available online at the lowest common denominator level of getting that information, where you can take a course with the American Red Cross whether you want to meet that requirement. There is a free CPR class online that will meet the requirements. Okay. And then you'll need to sign the standards of practice. Okay. You'll need to sign the code of conduct. You'll need to sign something that agrees with the fact that the Ncbtmb works with organizations against human trafficking. Okay. And that board certification will be valid for 2 years. Okay. So national certification was a 4-year credential. The board certification will be a 2-year credential. Okay. Now, and it's far in the future to talk about it, but I'll tell you, to be re-board certified, that's where the research hours come in. Okay. To recertify, to become board certified, to recertify that, you'll need to show 2 years, because it's 2 years, 12 hours a year, which is starting to be pretty standard. Okay, so 24 hours of continuing education. Okay, within those 24 hours of education, rather than requiring ethics, we will be requiring 3 hours of research. Now, it doesn't mean you have to go out and create a research experiment. Okay, you may not be interested at all in research. Okay, but there are ways in which you can educate yourself about research. You know, how do I know if what I'm reading as far as research goes is valid? Okay, so educating yourself about research, doing some research, conducting research, 3 hours, and 3 hours isn't much. I'll let you know that on the AMTA Foundation, this is a little plug for the AMTA Foundation, they have a 6-hour course that you can click on right off of their website in research literacy. It's fabulous. Okay, it's put together by Whitney Lowell, and between Whitney Lowell and Jan Schwartz. It's a fabulous, fabulous course. It will teach you a lot about research literacy, and that's a great way to meet the requirement. Now, in 2 years, when recertification begins, we are anticipating that more educators will put together 3-hour courses, of course, for research, so that there will be courses available more readily for you than there are right now to meet that requirement. Okay? Yes? Okay. So,
And the fees associated with recertification?
the fee associated with recertification is $85.
Every
Okay?
2 years.
For the 2 years, yeah. So the fee for becoming board certified, okay, that is $250. Now, if you took one of National Certification Board's examinations in order to become licensed, there is a $25 discount. So if you took an Ncbtmb licensure examination, which if you're here in Connecticut with a license, you did because that's what they require, then it would be $225 for you, okay? And then to recertify is $85, okay? Recertification is $85, yeah. And that also includes the cost of a background check. A background check is part of what we will do for board certification and recertification. Lee?
So just to be clear on that, when I renew, say I renew in 2014, I maintain my certification, I renew, I become now board certified. And that fee for that renewal is the $250 or the $225.
Right.
And then after that, every 2 years is only 85.
Correct.
The initial one for everybody is the 250.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry if it wasn't clear. Thank you, Lee.
Yeah, what are you looking for in a background check, and what would disqualify you, a red flag or whatever? I mean, I know pretty much why, but is there a criteria where if something appears in your background check, you are not eligible, or?
Right. The background check program is just one that's done by the federal government. It's a pretty standard one, so it's going to be what everyone uses when they run a background check. It comes up with a green, a yellow, or a red. Okay, if there's a yellow or a red, we would look at it. We have always had an ethics and standards committee. We have always had an eligibility committee, and anything that comes up that looks like it would be denied would be able to be appealed through that committee. Okay, so we have some things set in place in anticipation of that. Yeah.
Hi, I'm eligible to renew in 2015. Is that still where I have to fill out the application 2013, or do I go to 2015?
You can recertify sooner
Could you
than
repeat that, Sue? I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
No, that's okay. No.
Okay, the question I believe was that you are due to recertify in 2015. Okay. And was the question, what if I want to recertify now in 2013 to become board certified? Is that your question?
Well, I thought we had to apply 2 years before,
No.
so I can wait until 2015.
No, yeah, you would have, in 2015, when your recertification date comes up, you would just meet the board certification criteria and become board certified without having to take the exam. If you wanted to be board certified sooner than your recertification date, let's say you don't recertify until 2016, okay, then, and you wanted to be board certified, now you can do that, and we will prorate the fee. Because you've already paid to be board certified, nationally certified for 4 years, okay? So there would be a prorate of the fee if you decided you wanted to do it sooner. Okay.
Marilyn.
I'm still not clear what the difference is between recertifying and being board certified.
Okay, so board certification, the question is, what's the difference between board certified and recertified?
Yeah.
And it's a good question, because when you recertify, so now you're nationally certified.
Yes.
Okay, national certification will sunset, it will go away. Okay? When you recertify, when your recertification date for national certification comes up, you're going to become board certified. It's a new title. You'll be board certified instead of nationally certified. So after 4 years, whatever, a little more than 4 years from now, okay, there won't be any more national certification. There will be board certification, okay? And so you'll be board certified. And then when you want to recertify your board certification, that's what we're talking about. Okay? You get it? No? You don't get it? So, anybody pop up if they think that they can say it better? It's saying that right now you're nationally certified, okay? When you would go to normally recertify your national certification, that's going to end up giving you a designation of board certification. Okay? And then you'll recertify your board certification in 2 years. Right.
And that will only cost us $225 because we've already been nationally certified.
$225 for you to go from national certification to board certification.
And then when we recertify in 2 years, then we only pay the $85.
That's right. Then it's $85. Correct. And geez, I don't know whose hand came up first, so I'm just going to go. Right.
Classes, any kind of notification of what kind of classes you have to take, or any what kind of courses on the website you're going to have to take
to become board certified?
Become board, or to uphold the certification each time you recertify?
It needs, well,
Other
the
than the
recertification requirements to become board certified will be as they are now, okay?
Other than becoming a CPR or certifying CPR.
Approved providers.
Same thing.
Are the approved? Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. In order to recertify your board certification, you'll need to do approved providers.
Hi. Recently, I recertified for the board. I was just going to let it lapse. My national certification expired in 2009, technically, but I heard that I had up to 3 years to recertify. And I just did that before the year end.
Good.
I scrambled.
Good.
So I guess my question is, what if I didn't recert? Would I have a big slap on the hand, or would I have to recertify? I also but there's a wondering type of thought. What if you have to retake the national certification test in order to get board certified again? There's any truth to that? That's why I took it. I'm like, there's no chance in hell I'm taking that test.
I'm glad someone impressed upon you that, because it means that you do actually understand that if you are currently nationally certified, if you recertified in time, right, before the end of the year, okay, you don't need to take the exam. If you're not currently nationally certified,
and you let it lapse,
and you want to become board certified, then you'll need to take the test.
What is the test? But do you have to, if you take it again?
What was that?
If you're taking the certification board exam, what is the exam looking for? What are the questions about?
Well, basically what you're asking for is the content outline of the exam. And so the exam is going to be geared to a more advanced level of practitioner, which means there will be more questions with regard to assessment and application of massage therapy techniques. But you'll be able to look at the content outline as you have always been able to look at the content outline for the licensure exams. You'll be able to look at the content outline for the board certification examination as well. So you'll be able to look what percentage of the exam is going to be in this, and this.
When would you have to take this? I missed that. When would you have to take that exam? I missed that.
You would have to take the examination in order to become board certified if you're not nationally certified.
Currently,
right.
Which is me.
Scott.
Which is Scott, yeah.
Because I'm taking that exam.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I'm crazy.
Scott's taking it because he wants to.
You know?
What are the repercussions of that? If he takes it, he doesn't
Let's see, it doesn't, yeah, what happens to?
Happens soon.
I know.
Not on your list anymore.
Basically, if you do not pass the board certification exam, just like with the national certification exam, used to be, you'll have an opportunity to retake. Okay? And yes.
Sue, could you talk a little, because I know there's a lot of questions in the room, about Connecticut right now has an umbrella of being a provider. Connecticut has a provider number, so that
Connecticut chapter of the AMTA.
being a chapter of the AMTA, exactly, and that will disappear, correct? In other words, anybody who is a provider that was falling under the umbrella of the Connecticut chapter now has to become an
An approved provider. Right.
Is that correct?
So what you're shifting over into talking about changes that the National Certification Board is doing with regard to continuing education and approved providers in that program.
Yes.
Okay. We've made a lot of changes to that program. We put those out. We've received a lot of feedback from organizations, from conferences, from individuals, from proprietary types of schools. And so we are funneling through all of that feedback and are modifying and making adjustments to the changes we put together in that program. So keep your eye out for that. The board has a meeting coming up next week. We'll be reviewing that again, and we'll be putting out a revision to the parts of the program. So I don't want to answer it at the moment because the board hasn't made a final decision.
So for right now, it's still okay to have the umbrella of the AMTA Connecticut chapter, to have our members taking that and falling under that umbrella.
For right now, it is, because we have not officially changed
And there will be a grace period of, it's not just going to be, bang, this is changing. It'll be next year it'll change.
Well, we'll have to take into consideration the fact that you don't plan a convention today for tomorrow.
That's the
you know,
thing, yeah,
so
exactly.
There'll be a time frame that's allowable for the fact that things have been booked.
Yeah, this is a Connecticut question and a New England regional question.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a NERC question as well. Let me see, Neil back here and here.
So just to be clear on this, is this happening soon immediately as of 2013? In other words, if you're due to be certified this year, then the transition is to board certification. In other words, you cannot still do a 4-year cycle. From this year on, it's a 2-year cycle and it becomes board certification.
That's correct.
So if you're due to recertify this year, then you have to meet the criteria for board certification. You cannot renew for 4 years.
Correct.
Okay. And are students who are graduating and going for licensure still going to be taking the national certification exam, or is that going to become the board certification exam?
No, they will still be taking the national certification. When students graduate to take licensure examinations, they will be taking the Ncbtmb, which is what is required. Okay, that's the same test. Right. The board certification is a brand new, shiny, clean, different test.
Just a few more questions, Sue.
Okay.
And then
Judy.
Yep.
we'll wrap
Okay.
up.
Judy.
Okay, just a couple questions. One's a follow-up to that one, and that is, if they're still taking that test, when they walk out of there, they're getting national certified or not?
No, they'll be just getting a license.
They'll just be getting a license?
Right.
Okay, that's one question. The other question I had was, as far as the classes, the number of classes you need to take each, time you want to recertify, regardless of whether it's the board or the national, that's going to remain the same? So how many CEUs?
Oh,
because you said, okay, the first time you got 750 hours and you have to have this and this. The next time, do you have to have whatever it is today, 48 credits?
You have to, the recertification cycle would be 2 years.
Yeah.
And so it'll be 24 hours.
Okay, but that will continue. Okay.
Yes, 24 hours, 2 years, 12 hours a year.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Yep.
Just to follow up, I have a friend who her national cert expired. If she doesn't feel like recertifying again, do you lose your Connecticut licensure, or do you have to No, you don't have to have it.
No.
Okay.
You know, the state of Connecticut requires an examination, okay, and they require a certain amount of education in order for you to get the license, okay? So they've always required the use of National Certification Board examinations, okay? But it is not required that you maintain your certification in order to maintain your license, okay? Okay, you're welcome.
I have one more question.
Are not just for Connecticut, but any state that requires this exam, is that right? For the national certification?
This is a national program, so it's the same across the nation from our perspective. How each state then folds it into what their current regulations are would be something you would need to take a look at state by state by state. So I know that there are still questions out there, and I want to stay on time, and I appreciate Carrie being my little timekeeper. And so I am going to be here, okay? When you take a break, afterwards, whatever you like, I'll be at that table right over there, okay? I'll be standing behind it. And I am here until the last question is answered, okay? So thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for being interested in and wanting to maintain credentials in your massage therapy profession. I really appreciate it.